Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Digital Dialogues powered by CXO Digital Pulse. As we stand on the brink of technological revolution, generative artificial intelligence is increasingly evident across industries. Today, businesses are delving and exploring and leveraging generative artificial intelligence like never before to enhance their overall business objective. To further delve into this interesting paradigm that how organizations are becoming ready for artificial intelligence and more specifically generative artificial intelligence, we have a very special guest in our studio today. Mr. Rabinarayan Parida, who's the Chief Information Officer at Brio Technologies. Brio Technologies is a leading cloud consulting firm and a renowned Google Cloud partner. A very warm welcome, Ravi.
Thank you.
So, Rabi, as we have discussed about how cloud has taken a center stage, and there's a lot of evolution that is happening in technology. As a leader in cloud consulting firm and a cloud Google Cloud partner, how do you view the readiness of organization in this landscape where everyone is embracing generative AI today? And why do you think this is the right time to prioritize it for the organizations?
Yeah. So, I mean, today, if you look at most of the corporates, right, so they have started moving into GenAI space. But if you look at a little bit players who are a little bit lower than these corporates or enterprises, they are kind of still evaluating, right?
Okay.
Trying to move to GenAI. So, the evaluation is still on. So, even in corporates, if you see enterprises, they have already started moving through. But if you look at corporates and below, they are still trying to see most of the things will be around POCs, right? So they will try to do a POC and then they will see, okay, POC has been done and they are seeing certain results, but they are not moving to production yet. So they are still trying to evaluate whether this is the right fit for me, whether the Gen AI has become popular enough, whether the analysis that is being given by Gen AI is good enough for me, so that I can go ahead and put my money into it, right? But I think if you look at providers like Google or Microsoft and other uh, Gen AI providers, so they have started moving long before, and today they have models which are actually doing a lot better than what it was doing before. So I would say that if you are going to stick to Gen AI, I think your the results that you're going to get is around 90 to 95% maybe. But if you want to go beyond that, then you'll have to go for what is so that is like AI solution, yeah, cloud for the Google.
Okay. And as you mentioned, there are certain enterprises who are still stuck at the POC level or post POC level, but yet not taking the leap. What should be the guiding mantra for them to take that final call that yes, this is the right time and this is the right scope or area where they should invest?
Uh, this is basically for this. I think we have kind of a standard procedure that we follow for all organizations. The first thing that we need to do is push for data. Okay, unless you have the right data, you will never have the right output from the data. The data building is a practice that needs to be done from the organization top level onwards. So it is kind of a data centric approach we call that. But the organization itself will have to move towards it. That is the basically the first step or the first step that the organization will have taken over the AI.
Yeah. Okay. And as you said, that that data is the first step. But apart from that, do you feel that there are certain other challenges that organization face in terms of preparing to be a Gen AI powered future? And if you can just quote some example from your experience while having these conversation with any of the organization.
Yeah, so most of the organizations, even today, as I was saying, even today, data is the major blocker. So, because as you see, the data is discovered in disparate systems, right? So, from all the disparate systems, the data is coming into a local or a centralized location. People do not know what to make out of this data. That's so it has to be. So, as I always say, Gen AI is basically first before moving to Gen AI, you will have to move to big data engineering. So your big data engineering will have to be of a, the foundation layer will have to be really good for that Gen AI to come out of, for the switch AI output come out of. So even today, that is kind of the blocker that we have, where the data is in disparate systems, and they try to come into a centralized literature. But
Okay.
except for that, I think the other problem that we might face, or the organizations are facing, is um, the legacy systems that they have. Right. So the data is there. They are trying to find out solutions out of it. Even the data is able to provide some analysis, some analytical output by using GenAI or AI based systems. But because they have a lot of legacy systems into which they are not able to integrate this particular analytic data, they are not really able to use this or consume this. That is one more area where they have problems.
Okay.
And one more problem that they have is basically with skills. Right?
Okay, the skill set.
Yeah, the skill sets. So they have a vision. They know, okay, this is what I want, but they don't know the data is there, but they don't know how to go about changing this particular data into that particular route. And that is where I think we have worked with most of the customers, most of our customers, to see how do they basically go ahead into this particular data scenario or data centric scenario, then go into this AI path.
Okay. Definitely. And I think there was one of the studies where I would say more than half of the IT leaders were having this challenge of, the decision of moving from legacy systems towards the AI systems. And I would say one of the challenges that you highlighted about the skill sets, I think more than two-thirds of the organizations are actually facing this challenge.
Yeah.
And Ravi, as we are talking about data, there's another concern that comes in terms of data is trust. Yeah. That, how that process towards generative AI when they are moving in terms of securing the data and building that trust. So, in your role or in your conversation with the organizations, how do you ensure that the technology adoption, particularly with respect to generative AI, it goes hand in hand with building a trust factor with the customers?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, to build this trust, right? Because when there is a question of Gen AI, there is a question of data, right? So, because data is something that everybody today is kind of very secretive about, right? Because it's my data. Data is more like gold. Nobody really wants to give away data. So, so there is this trust factors that we need to build with a particular customer, any customer, before even we go for this Gen AI adoption. So, first of all, what we do is basically we go and talk with a particular customer, and we are kind of open, saying that see, Gen AI is not a magic bullet, right? It is not going to give you whatever you want right now. It's not going to give you. You have to work on it, and there is a high probability that after all this process, the AI or Gen AI or whatever you have done to the might fail. So there's 30% chance that if the data is not proper or for whatever reason, if the model that we have used is not proper, there is a possibility that at the end of all this process, at the end of all this exercise, there is a high probability that it is going to fail. So we are kind of open about it. We go and talk to customers saying that there is a possibility like this. So we never say that, okay, it is going to give you 100% results. So that way, they already know that there is a possibility of failure even before they start investing. Like, and the second thing is about reliable AI. That is something that we talk about because they are going to provide us data, and there is a possibility that we might have access to that particular data. So we talk to them that, okay, this data we are taking, but we have a framework. Google provides a reliable AI framework,
Okay.
and it has defined standards, and that is how we go ahead and use this particular data using that particular standard to define and produce the AI results that we're looking.
Okay. And I would say this would be a really bold and honest moment where you're putting that, there is definitely a high probability of failure, quoting the stats with it, because this definitely, on one hand, would make them think through, and which is, I would think, really important for them to also assess before they are going ahead with this, that, what can work and what cannot work. And having those stats in hand and then moving forward would be the better way out.
Yes, yes.
And this is not something I would say is part of a small part of the infrastructure. It actually impacts the overall cultural acceptance of the organization. So, how has been your experience with the enterprises when it comes to actual adoption, moving from POC to the actual organization cross adoption? So, how do you see the mindset that needs to be changed, or with which they need to move forward?
Yeah. So for this again, we have a standard called data centric approach.
Okay.
So it is the data centric approach is not for only the Gen AI piece that we're working on. It is an organization wide approach, right? So for this, we have something called as cross functional data team
Okay.
for that. So that is part of this particular team. So when we say cross functional, so we have a team that is basically part from each function of your organization,
Okay.
right? So from each function, there are few people they are part of this particular team. So that way you visualize or you know the origin of data and how the data is moving and where is the destination of the data. And each of these pieces, the people know how the data is traveling and what is the expected output from this particular data that is traveling from through this pipeline, right? So when you have this cross-functional team, you have a higher chance of having a better AI model and better AI predictability.
Okay, great. And I think now it's been long where the buzz has moved from AI to Gen AI.
Yeah.
And in itself, it's been called a game changer across the industry. So when you think about Gen AI and the future, say in the next 2 to 3 years, what do you assess is the most excitement thing that you foresee to happen, and how can organization can really leverage or plan this AI journey for themselves?
I think GenAI is a good thing. If you ask me, GenAI is a good thing because it kind of leverages you from doing all kinds of mundane stuff. And I think industry will have to adapt it because there is no other way. It will grow. You cannot stop it. A good thing cannot be stopped. So it is going to grow. And I think by maybe next 2 to 3 years, all human beings will not be doing any mundane stuff. Right? Your day-to-day activities. I think by using GenAI, I almost save up to 60 to 70% of my time when I'm doing stuff like creating documents, creating emails, templatizing anything. So that is taken care of by GenAI. So I can basically go ahead and do other thing which human beings can do, like innovation, strategy. So all the things that people can do now. So I think that is what is going to happen. All the million stuff is going to go, and people will be left to do all things that human beings are supposed. Yeah. So that is going to be the future.
Okay, great. So I think artificial intelligence was a transitional or say transformative wave, and generative AI has become a game changing element in this transformative wave. And be it individual or the organization, everyone is leveraging the most out of this transformation. From simple use of GPT platforms to organization who are implementing now Gen AI across LOBs to improve their efficiency, to innovate, and much more. It would be really exciting times going forward how organizations will be leveraging the power of generative AI. Let's watch out for this space and the future to know how things turn up. Thank you so much, Rabi, for being with us.
Thank you, Vishnu, for having me.